everybody. Welcome to Happy Hour. We're happy you're here. It's right at 4:00. I'm really boring today. You know what I have in my glass? I have tea. I'm drinking. I'm an old lady now, apparently.
I have water.
But by drinking the tea, it makes you young again, right? That's like the thing.
Yeah. It's miracle tea. Yes. It's not really miracle tea, although I have miracle tea. This is actually ginger, green tea ginger or something like that.
Ooh, green tea. I got some loose leaf lavender tea the other day in the mail, and I was like, what? It's very yummy.
What you're gonna do with
Is that your client, your tea client that sent you tea?
No, it was a gift that came in the mail, and it was lavender and green tea.
Sounds good.
You know, I did get a few packages this holiday season, and the people, well, there's a couple. One, they never put anything in it. I have no idea who it's from. Don't know where it came from. And then one sent a beautiful pecan pie to Aunt Carol. I'm not Aunt Carol, but
that was me done.
Aunt Carol did not get the pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
I remember one year it was an epic fail. And since we're talking about apps, it was an app that we actually featured on Happy Hour, and it was an epic fail. It was not like an accounting app. So it was this app called Postable that allows you to basically create your Christmas cards, make like personal messages, and they send them out for you. And it was the first time I'd ever used the app, and mine got mixed up with somebody else's. And so I kept getting emails from people going, I got a card from you. It had the strangest message in it. It was like, dear Aunt Millie. It was like all this details about this other person. And yeah, although Postable, they handled it really well. They like refunded my money. They were really apologetic, and I used them again, and it was fine. And I know other people that use it. It was fine, but I remember, that was fun.
That's an awesome April Fool's thing to do.
Yeah.
That is a good one, actually. Yeah. Always looking for good ones to do.
Allison Ball, I think, was the first one that emailed me, and she was like, I think you sent me somebody else's card. And I'm like, we don't know an Aunt Millie. I'm like, something happened here. And then I got one from Dan DeLong, and I'm like, but it was my card. It was just they had collated the messages differently, like how they probably run them all through a printer, and anyway,
mix it all. They shuffled them like a deck of cards. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Nope.
Well,
so did you want to kick us off?
Yeah,
I'd love to. So, the official welcome everyone to Happy Hour. We have got some special guests here today, and we've got some cool topics. And this is one of those that I could spend hours talking about, daydreaming and what if scenarios. So that is going to be part of our mission today. As we're in January, we're talking about, what all can you do as far as possibilities for this year. Dawn's got some cool stuff that she's been cooking up, and we've got Giraffe, our buddies, here with us. So Heather, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Me?
Yes.
Sure. I'm Heather Satterley. I am a CPA, and I'm the Director of Education and Media at Woodard. And I am the co-host of the Happy Hour. So I love accounting technology. It has been the highlight of my career to help my clients and my friends, and now the accounting community, to learn about technology, implement it, and make their lives easier.
I'm going to brag on you for a second, because I was in a meeting with you today and talking about your Woodard position. And I heard somebody say that they really were impressed with the content in the Woodard report since you've been there.
Oh, well, I know. I was like, that made my day. And then I have this amazing new author whose article literally just dropped like 2 hours ago. And she wrote this great article on cybersecurity, and it was so good. And she might be in this call with us, and she might have purple hair. It's possible.
Today.
I wonder who that is.
I don't know. Where is she?
If it was only not after a semi-soft holiday weekend, I guess.
Talking about the Where's Waldo. Okay, so Yeah, we were playing Where's Waldo with the giraffe.
We are, yes, there are giraffes in most of our, oh wait, Liz, you and Dawn might have them. Oh, yep.
Dawn's rocking it over there.
Right on, yeah,
Look.
right on that part of her.
This is what I brought, Dawn's book.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll move over and I'll quickly introduce myself. Liz Scott, the cool thing that I get to do is work with App Solutions, and that has become our firm mission. So yes, I do still have accounting clients, but there's a lot of feedback that our community has about solutions, and that is where I'm spending all of my day, is giving feedback, providing how-tos, being able to suggest new features and how they might work inside the solution for accounting professionals. So I feel pretty darn fortunate.
Well, I think Evan was just actually tearing up over that. So he had his eyes with some tissue. He doesn't want to admit, but I think he was doing it.
You might actually see me cry pretty heavy because I got some cedar fever this year here in Austin, which is a local allergy, but yeah, it was also tears of happiness. Yes.
They call it cedar fever. Cedar fever.
It's called cedar fever. It's like it's a deal here in Austin.
Well, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Evan?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Evan. I have allergies this year. It's a new thing for me. And this is a professional introduction, not personal. Okay. I come from industry. I started my career in one of the big four accounting firms many full moons ago. So years and years and years ago, lived out the Sarbanes-Oxley world, post Sarbanes-Oxley world, for those who are familiar with that. And I stepped into industry from there and joined a large global medical device manufacturer, where I had a very large budget to purchase, enterprise type tools for forecasting and budgeting and things. And when you're publicly traded companies, you need to have a lot of sophistication around your forecasting process, because guidance to the street and things is something that is scrutinized by the public markets, investors, and things like this. Missing by a penny sometimes can impact valuations of your stock, right? So when I went into VC-backed companies some time ago, I couldn't believe that it went from this like $100,000 plus solution that's available to, say, the Fortune 500. I mean, it could be available to us too if you've got that kind of money to pony up, but who does, right? I mean, like, you don't get to go to your small business owners and say, hey, so $100,000 software and we can solve all these problems for you. No, that's not going to work. So I kept my ear to the street. I couldn't believe that it went from that to effectively Excel. And I looked at a lot of the competitors and what's going on in the landscape at that time, and found Giraffe. So I became one of the early customers. I think I was like customer number 4. And I used Giraffe as what I liked about Giraffe was I was looking for something that could project working capital on a balance sheet and connect it to what's going on in the day-to-day operations of the business from an income statement point of view, which is starting to get into some technical talk, but so technical talk's the fun talk. Don will tell you I like talking technical just as much as the other stuff as well. And so, to do some of those formulas and things in Excel is doable, though it's not sustainable. It's sort of like one time, do the one time, report it the one time, and you have to do it again every single time. When you get into the software solution, it kind of just, maintains relevance over time. And so I became an early customer, and now it's been sort of like a thrill for me to be coming out of public accounting into like work across the industry with the other professionals, not only learning from, but also showing them how we execute our software into accounting firms and small businesses and things, and sort of helping provide a pathway for upskilling of the industry. So that's been like kind of a silver lining, like a really fun thing for me. And some, in collaboration with the industry is something that I really enjoy. So, talking with others about how they think about things. I think Dawn and me had a conversation last time. I think I spoke with you, Dawn. We were talking about average cost per plate for a restaurant or something like this. And that was something I've never really interacted with before. So that was like a learning lesson for me. I mean, the math is the math, but the actual business execution of it and working with the small business owners, it's a lot of fun there. And so being able to participate in those discussions with other professionals is like a highlights of my career. And I hope everyone shares in that feeling too, of when you interact with others at like a conference and you're like, wow, that person really knows something about something I want to know about. I want to buy them a drink, like that's kind of like what you get out of the social aspect of the conferences, as well as the presentations and things as well. And, I'm excited for this upcoming year and the things we're doing here in the business, and working collaboratively with individuals like we have on the call here with Liz and Heather and Dawn, and helping, communicate this message and share the knowledge with everybody. So I'm excited to talk more with you guys.
Well, we're definitely here. And I appreciate you sharing some of your background, because it helps everybody to understand, we see you at conferences, but to hear some of that backstory of where you came in and how you continued to grow with Giraffe, it's cool. It's cool. So Mike, do you want to go ahead and give us an introduction and tell everybody what you're doing over at Giraffe?
Are you okay if I keep it a little bit shorter than Evans?
Go for it.
You asked me to go long. You asked me to talk for a long time, Mike, if I remember correctly.
It's sold out.
Ding.
I'm Mike Trantos. I head up accounting partnerships here at Giraffe. I've been with Giraffe for close to 2.5 years now. And I was at the 49er game on Saturday and ran into a former colleague of mine. And he asked me, hey, how's everything going with your career? And I paused for a little bit, and the answer I gave him was, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire professional career. And it's absolutely true. And the reason for that is because I'm super passionate about helping accounting firms kind of rethink their strategy. I spend probably 4 days a week working with firms on, developing their long-term strategy in the lens of financial planning and analysis, working through their go-to-market plans. And I get so much passion around that, helping entrepreneurs kind of rethink their business, and more importantly, put them on a path to success. And we did the same thing with Dawn just about a year ago, and she'll probably give some snippets around this over the course of the next 45 minutes. So glad to be here.
I think you're on mute, Liz.
I was. I'm glad that y'all are both here. And I want to also give Dawn a chance to, the woman who needs no introduction. But if you are somebody who doesn't know our dear friend, Dawn Brolin, Dawn, you want to go ahead and give an intro?
I'm usually a pretty shy, quiet person. So, I just come out of my comfort zone for you guys today is what I'm doing. But yeah, so I'm Dawn Brolin. I'm a CPA, a certified fraud examiner. I've been in business for 24 years. I have fallen on my face. I have kicked my own ass. Can I say that? Sorry, inappropriate. Yep. But I really have, been through quite a bit in my practice through the journey, and realized during COVID, it was time for me to pass it on to other professionals and help them try to, get their firms straight and to really refocus and reimagine what your firm can look like. And as Mike alluded to in what he had said, over the last year has been a transformation that I never imagined, to be totally honest. And, the experiences I've had since 2019, if I was to be fair, when prior to that, professional career was filled with a lot of disappointment and a lot of challenges and a lot of, trusting people and kind of getting screwed on that, those kind of things, that I realized I wanted to write a book to help my colleagues. So I wrote a book about softball, because if you know me, I'm a passionate all about softball, and our season starts. Yeah, there you go, Liz. And it actually has been revised. So we've added the 22 season onto the book. We're going to keep building the book every year. And yep, it's going to be focused on Eastern softball. And you know why? Because it's my book. And so we'll talk about that. That'll happen. But moving from, the passion around softball and helping college-aged women learn, grow, become people that they never imagined they would be, because you just love on them so much and help them with whatever you can. And taking that and going, you know what? I have just as much passion around my accounting professionals and the people that I see at conferences I've grown up with is what I would call it. And seeing even at QB Connect, there were half of the attendees were brand new, had never been to QuickBooks Connect before. That's mind blowing. And for me, my whole thing is, I'm not saying I know everything, but I know enough to hopefully help you at least as you start your journey and not do the things I did. And hopefully either through the growth and over the last year, building this whole program of relationship pricing that Ron Baker talks about, and he just reaffirmed it was right. But Mike was the one who got me started on the journey to realize that, hey, you know what? There's more to what we do than just plugging numbers in and doing tax returns or just reconciling books and all that. We're always looking to the past. We need to look to the future in order to save these businesses. And we've implemented that. We've implemented Giraffe to look at forecasting and looking at different aspects of, right now we're going through a big salary and hourly rate reconfiguration on one of our restaurant clients that we were talking about. Evan was talking about the plates. We're like redoing all of what we're doing is we're implementing a 20% service fee and lowering their wages so that the company itself, the restaurant itself, doesn't have the big high payroll burden. Now we're passing it on to the customer and all the money goes to the workers, right? I could talk for 17 hours about it, but because of Mike, and I say this and I mean it, because Mike helped me understand the importance of financial planning and analysis for businesses. We're always so focused on the individual. And because of that, we have transformed the way we look at our business clients in a way I never looked at before. And there are stories I can tell you 9 million of them, which we will maybe get into 1 or 2 of them. Don't cry, Evan. This is really positive. So anyway, so I run my own firm. We have clients. We fired a bunch of them. We still kept some. We have 18 relationship pricing clients that we work with every single month on a regular basis. And then our tax client, we're killing it over here. We're still doing fraud case work. We're doing IRS representation. And I don't know how I do it all either, but I'm so passionate about it that it matters to me. And Mike has helped transform Powerful Accounting into the firm it's meant to be, where I never thought it was supposed to be before. So I publicly, and I've done this a couple of times, but Mike, you're the one who charged forward and said, come on, Brolin, you're not that dumb. Come on, I can help you. I can help you learn. And that's where I'm from. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I definitely want to hear more about what you've done. And so I think that kind of plays in on going perfectly into part of where our conversation stems from is this whole idea of what if. And for those of you who are aware that Appy Hour had a camp, I'll just go ahead and give you a little bit of a highlight here. One of the things that we did was we talked about not just in the accounting industry, not just in your immediate week or month, but what if bigger than that, what would you do? So it could be, would you change directions? Would you implement something new in your firm? Would it be something that you would love to see in our industry? So these what ifs, these are real what ifs that were from the attendees at camp. And, some things grew out of that time together. And I want to go ahead and pick on, some of the conversations that happened there at camp. And one of those was this idea of what else you could be doing to help support accounting professionals. So Mike or Evan, I'm going to pass it over to you because this was something that you had shared was part of your what if.
Yeah, Evan, you want to take this first? This is
Sure.
around the fireside chat session with Dan on how to build a successful partnership.
Yeah. So, sometimes gut has a lot to do with it, right? It's just generally wanting to, you want to work with people that you want to work with. There's a gut feel there. It's a human thing. And being able to trust somebody, I think, is a key component of any relationship you have, whether it's business, personal, or anything. So the gut feel, I think, has to be there. But part of that is also having a shared vision and value, right? So you might have somebody who you completely connect with and you want to do business with, but they just have a completely different vision and value system that they're going after. And so that may not align with a successful partnership in terms of a business capacity, right? And so, to me, understanding where somebody perceives the future to be, how their role plays into that future, and how you can collaborate together in that vision and executing that while maintaining good business values, I think is something that's a critical, key pillar to a successful partnership. Basically, you want to work with people that you want to work with, treat everybody with respect kind of thing. I certainly can remember the days of working in Big Four accounting, and sometimes partners didn't really care what you had going on that weekend. You were working. You don't want to you want to work with people you want to work with. And as a subcomponent of that is being able to align with them around a deep understanding of that business and the strategy that underpins what's going on in that business. So you're not going to be able to be all things to all people. And so being able to become verticalized and specialized is something that I think is a conversation that was certainly a big topic when I started my career, that, if you go into auditing, one of the things that I became specialized in was inventory and private equity. But if it comes into say a deferred tax asset or liability, I'm not your guy, right? But there's going to be people out there who know that really, really well, and they've specialized in that. Similarly, as it relates to working with small businesses and aligning around their goals and their visions and their values, you have to understand the difference between, to use Dawn's example of the restaurant, front of house and back of house. Or if you're a small, like a owner, somebody that owns a bar, understanding how alcohol sales and things work and the compliance around that. So specializing around that and having a deep understanding of that, and aligning your support and offerings around that aligns to their outcomes, is another key component that we see with a successful partnership. And then that gets you incentively aligned as well, because then you're aligned to continue to demonstrate your ability to help execute upon that strategy with the small business owner for a positive outcome. And they're also aligned with, getting on board with getting to a place of success and all the things that I just outlined before, and having skin in the game, if you want to have some skin in the game on both sides. So those are some of the key things that I like to talk about around a successful partnership. And I think, Mike, you've got the next section here.
Yeah, no, I'll just add on to what Evan said, and what's made the partnership with Growth Lab so successful with Giraffe. And Evan touched upon it initially around the shared vision. Giraffe and Growth Lab have a deep passion about helping the accounting community. And I think that's what's special about the accounting community in general. Everybody really wants to help each other out. And I think that's first and foremost. And, as we kind of formed our partnership together, we really understood each other's kind of business processes, and then trying to map, our services and products around our respective business processes. And that helps kind of, in a lot of ways, it makes employees happy, helps the company scale. And I think, the two teams came together to kind of iron those out. And another thing about Growth Lab is, a lot of the team members know the Giraffe product better than us. And they provide us with very constructive feedback. And I think it's always a constructive two-way feedback loop, both positive and negative, that strengthens our partnership. So during this session, we had just an open discussion about what makes a successful partnership. And you're just hearing a few of the kind of key elements that, we shared with the Appy Hour community at Appy Camp.
Well, and I love that, there was the forum there to be able to explore these different ideas, but that taking a solution and then taking the actual client, and like you said, being able to understand what are the various things that they need. And that's the direction that, you should focus that need. And, Dawn, you were just saying that we've all grown up 100%. I mean, I feel like that's the thing that I keep on getting closer and closer to, is who do I want to be whenever I grow up? Look at this lady. I want to be her when I grow up. So,
there's a lot going on there.
There's a
oh
lot
my
of
gosh, I know, right? Who doesn't want to be a dog?
Two different socks.
I know. That's the first thing I noticed. Right?
I had a mustache back then.
You did. Yeah. It came off pretty quick though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was a little,
off.
a little waxing while I was there.
Yeah, that's great.
Spa.
That's great.
Well, so we were talking about the what ifs, and that, this is the great time of year that not only can we think about what ifs while we're together at camp, but, bringing in that idea of here we are in January. There's so many people that have made these New Year resolutions, or they're thinking right now their heads down in end of year, but still has that idea of what can I do in order to better my firm, better myself. And Don, that's an area that you have just really devoted a whole lot of you to. And I can't thank you enough. You've given so much to the community.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I mean, I can't keep up with the two of you psychos, but I'm doing the best I can. You know what I mean? But no, definitely. And it's interesting that you say that about the what if. So I remember what I put on that poster. So I remember it, and I wrote on there, this was where I was at the tipping point of the full buy-in and the full plan that I was going to actually implement relationship pricing. That was like right before Intuit Tax Summit, Heather, if you recall. So it was I think it was a week or two before Tax Summit.
Yep.
And I left Appy Camp, and I said, and I wrote on the thing, what if money wasn't an issue? That's what I wrote down, because I've been the breadwinner in my family my whole entire career. For 24 years, I have carried it right here, whether it be my family or, when you have employees, you're carrying them on your shoulders, right? Because you're responsible now for more families, not just your own. And so for 23 years, I've been like, I got to make sure there's payroll. I got to make sure I get paid. I got to make sure everyone has money. That's just been, it has absorbed so much of what the decisions I've made in the firm, right? And I left camp and I said, guess what? Then here's what I'm going to do. I am going to make sure that money isn't an issue anymore. And that was when I left there, I said, I am going to make it so that I have relationship pricing with the people I want to work with. And I'm going to make sure I make enough money that I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't want to worry about it anymore. And so if you're somebody who's concerned about your cash flow and you're like, oh my goodness, I got to make payroll every week. I was actually in a Facebook group. I was reading. I do a lot of reading. I don't do a ton of participating unless I feel like I can really give value. Right. And I was on a Facebook group. It was yesterday, as a matter of fact. And they said something about, what do you panic the most about? And there were a couple people in there that said, I am always worried about making payroll. And I said, that's been me for 23 years, 100% for 23. I can do anything for a year or 6 months. I can commit and it can suck, but I can do it. But for 23 years to go through that is too long. Hence why I wrote this book, because I don't want anyone else to ever go through that. I left camp and I said, I am going to implement this, and I'm doing it. By the time we got to Summit, Heather, if you recall, I had my first relationship pricing client. I was crapping my pants when I met with the guys. I'm at this client meeting. We're going to relationship pricing, guys. We're doing this. We're going to come to your office every other Wednesday at 7 a.m. because you're heating and cooling and piping. And I hate you for having to get there at 7 a.m. But I'm going to do it because you're the client and you're important to me. And you can't meet any other time. So we go every other Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. and we sit there, we go over, we do financial planning analysis with them. We help them set up their wills. We have a buy-sell agreement because we got a partner who we always kill in the meetings. If you die, he doesn't want to be in business with your wife. So we're actually paying attention to things. But not only that, we've stabilized the revenue that comes into the firm. And I said to Nicole, my employee, I said, Nicole, what do you need to make so you're not worried about money? I don't want you to worry about money because I've already done it for everybody. I've worried about money for everyone for forever. So we have a bank filled with worry. It is full. We don't have any more room for worry. What do you want to make? And she told me. I said, done. Done. And then she said to me, can I be greedy? I said, please, that's what we're here for.
Should I
want you
ask
to
for
be
more?
greedy.
Yeah.
Let's go. She said, will you pay for my master's degree? Because she wants to go back to get her accounting degree and learn more. And this is what I said to her. I said, the answer is yes, but here's the terms of our agreement. You graduate and get your master's degree and you leave, I'm killing your entire family. Because
This session is being recorded.
this session is being recorded. That, you know, I'm
Because
just
I have
kidding.
lots of softball bats.
And I said to her, I said, I have been screwed by that. I have paid for someone because, you know, you can write all the agreements up you want, and then you can make it this legal battle and be mad about it. I'm not doing that. So here's the deal. We're going to be honest, because somebody else I paid for their entire master's degree and 3 months later they left. I said, if you do that, let's just say, you know, that's just not cool. So I said, okay. And then what we did was we sat down, we looked at all the clients, we analyzed what they're paying over the last year, what are the different things we can do, and let's map it out. And we mapped it out. We picked the ones we liked. We fired the ones we didn't. And we got to $36,000 a month in billing. $36,000 a month for 3 employees. Now we're working for it. And that's what I always tell them. You know, they'll say, oh, I need this. I need to know. I need copies of all the checks I paid to the city of Bridgeport because I have to prove X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, well, all right, we'll take care of that. We'll have it done by the end of the week. She's like, oh, I was going to do it. I'm like, make me earn my money. I want to earn my money. So that's like kind of the overview of what we went through. And we have this one client sent him an email yesterday, like they hadn't decided whether they were going to do it or not. I said, you have until midnight tonight. You don't sign, you're gone. And I don't care. And I wasn't rude about it. That's Dawn Brolin's like rough. But I emailed and I said, listen, we're not playing games here. There's only 20 slots and I'm at 18. You're either in or you're out. And I'm not going to deal with when you can pay. It's on the 5th of the month. And if you can't handle that, then we're not your people. And after, you know, the first one, I was like, what if he says no? And now I'm just like, you either say yes or you're gone. Like I just, over 4 months, I got the confidence to say, you know, we are good at what we do. And we're doing things for clients we've never done before. We found a payroll fraud last Wednesday. If we hadn't moved to this, the way we're doing it now, and really paying attention and being more intentional with the clients, he would have paid another bookkeeper $35 an hour, 20 hours a week for the person to do certified payroll, which, by the way, they're not even working for a government anymore. $42,000 last year. Guy probably worked maybe 100 hours, paid himself every week for 20 hours. Who on hourly rates are paid exactly 20 hours every single week? That's not possible. Caught the fraud. I mean.
All right, so I've got a question.
Okay.
So explain this, you called it client satisfaction pricing. What did you call it?
Relationship pricing.
I really like the way that sounds. So relationship pricing. And so, okay, so for years I've thought about, there's only so many Liz hours that can, I don't even need hours. It's compassion, it's thoughts, it's I wake up in the morning and I think about that client. I go to bed and I might think about that client. There's only so much of me that's available for that.
Right.
And so is that part of the pricing here? Is that relationship?
So it's more of, as far as we're concerned, it's being more intentional and more involved and actually analyzing, doing analytics, asking questions. That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is asking them questions. And so through the relationship that you build with them, when we sat down for our heating company is the first one we ever signed on. And we sat down with them. I didn't even know Mark got married. He got married 2 weeks before our meeting. I'm like, Mark, you got married? I didn't even know that. I didn't know you were married. And instantly I said, oh my goodness, well, we need a buy-sell agreement. We now have another person involved here. We need life insurance to cover the buyout if there's a buyout. Like, whoa, wait a minute, just on one thing, they just told us. And then I said to them, do you guys want to grow? Like, what are you looking at? Do we want to analyze costs associated with another truck with the tools and 2 guys in it going to do stuff? What's that cost? So we know, do you think you can get enough business to cover that cost? Like we started, and they were like, nope, don't want to grow. And I'm like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to grow? They were like, no, we're so already overwhelmed with what we're doing. We're firing people, clients.
Stabilize.
Mhm.
They want to stabilize what they're doing, which is what I'm doing, is stabilizing my firm so that we have, like you said, Liz, you have to set a limit. That's the scary part. People get scared. Once you take fear and stab it with the straw, take the fear,
Still
stab
being
the
recorded.
fear with the straw, right? I need to go to a boxing class or something,
You got to
but
get a knife at your desk, Dawn.
there we go. Well,
No, she
that's
doesn't.
probably,
No, she
I
doesn't.
shouldn't actually. I probably shouldn't.
That's my shank. That's a shank.
You can listen, the scissors do just as well. Trust me, you can get those.
I have a shake story that I'll tell you sometime, Evan.
Actually,
I love
we
that.
actually made those knives at a team building. It was kind of like Fortune Fire up in Seattle.
That's
what that-
awesome.
that's
Well,
what that-
that'll be the next Appy camp. We're gonna put together knives.
Let's forge.
I think it's important. So anyway, my point, Liz, is that it's at first it was scary. Like, what if no one wants to do it? And then it was like, but you know what? I know that I have to limit this, and I'm going to pick who I like,
Yeah.
and we're going to go for it. And if none of them say yes, then we need to revisit our client base, and it's a mindset.
That's interesting because, one of the things that we did as a firm is we instead of thinking about the individual clients and each individual subscription fee and adding that up and going, this is how much we're going to make this year. We started backwards, which it kind of sounds like you did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
We said, how much money do we need? And so each team member, how much money do you need? And then we said, okay, now we've got a number that this is our target. And so now let's think about, us as the resource. There's, there's so much of me that I can think about other, clients and have sanity and not miss out on my own life. And so then that's how we backed up into our number, was to be able to say, how much do we need in order to be able to support this goal?
And one of the things we're working on, which Dean and I have been so focused on a restaurant client. So he and I haven't talked about powerful accounting, but our goal is the FP&A side of it, the financial planning analysis for powerful accounting, to say, okay, we know what our salaries are, because Nicole and I are on salary. I know Tracy, she's usually around 20 hours a week. She doesn't want to be on salary. I tried to give her all the money. She didn't want it. So we know what the wages are going to be over the course of the year. What if I did 10 more S Corp returns, not relationship pricing clients, but if I do 10 more, if I do more of this, what if Nicole does this? I can give her bonuses if she does bonus projects. We can do this. What does the cash flow look like? And what happens at year end? What are those bonuses going to look like? That's what I want to look at. Like, now I'm not even worried about the weekly payroll. I'm not worried about that. But I'm sitting here going, Nicole, quarterly, how big can our bonuses be? How big can our bonuses be? And now it's fun and exciting. And I think that's, oh, Sandy, you are so sweet. I am very passionate. I'm very, very tame right now. I am tame right now.
It's going back to everybody. We all want to be her.
I've loved accounting since I was 16 years old. Like, I knew this was what I was going to do. And I knew I was not employable. I knew I had to work for myself. And that's why when I got into partnerships, that didn't work. Right. And so, I just look at it that we got to do stuff different. And when I'm doing things, now that I'm doing it differently, it's scary as crap, but you can call me and I'll talk you off the ledge, because it's not scary. Once you break through the wall, your world will change. This whole new scenery comes up and you're like, why didn't I do this 20 years ago? I'd probably be 30 pounds lighter. I'd probably, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a material person, so I wouldn't have anything different from a physical perspective, but I don't know. Maybe I could have started coaching earlier. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't worry about that. That's not what FP&A is about. FP&A is about looking forward, just like your life. I'm not worried about all those lessons I needed to learn.
I wouldn't change my past.
Yeah,
It's helped me move forward.
exactly.
Yeah. So I want to focus on some of the things that you're talking about and that you are implementing. And I think that this conversation really flows well over talking about Giraffe and boot camp. So I think that you've shared some of the experiences that you've had where you got some of those ideas from, but I'd love to give Mike and Evan a chance to talk about boot camp.
Yeah, so Liz, and everyone. I'll give just a little bit of background. So, and I saw Michelle just kind of chime in here.
I love Vilms. Absolutely love her. She's one of my
yeah,
favorite people, Michelle
um,
Vilms.
So, we had you guys did an awesome job of connecting everybody at Appy Camp. And one of the things that you guys did was these innovation roundtables. And it was an opportunity to bring about a group of 10 over to the partners tables just to kind of have a casual conversation. And one of the things that Evan and I decided to do is just a slightly different approach during those innovation roundtable sessions. And we wanted to keep it really firm-centered, business owner, entrepreneur-centered. And we asked one question to each participant that came over to the table. And that was, do you have a long-range plan in place for your firm? Do you have a long-term strategy, forecast, budget? Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? And around 90% of the business owners and firm owners said, we don't. And myself and Evan and Dan Gertrude were on a little casual walk around the hotel, and the idea of the Giraffe and Growth Lab boot camp was born. And we asked the question, what if the firm was our number one priority? And so that was the inspiration behind putting together a Giraffe and Growth Lab boot camp, that we allowed Appy Camp participants to join us on a series of learnings around their own firm and build their own strategy and financial forecast in Giraffe for free. And I'll turn it over to Evan, because it was Evan and his team and Growth Labs team that actually ran these boot camps. Everything that Don just shared, is part of this whole journey, but the journey that Don and I kind of took together is we kind of focused on the business and the clients and everything that you just shared just a little bit. And then now we're kind of turning around and focusing on her firm around this as well. But Evan, you want to just give a little
Sure.
bit of background on what we did for the
Yeah.
participants?
Happy to. So it was that's a fun car peeling out there in the snow. So we held 3 90-minute sessions, each one with having a different focus, right? And so it's not only going in and looking at here's how you do the nuts and bolts of this thing, but it's also how to click up and look at the broader picture around what Dawn was, in detail describing around the emotion that comes along with these things and the outcomes for your life. And so, the first session was something, was around a framework, understanding a framework and sort of reimagining, what your strategic business cycle looks like from a firm perspective, and how to optimize around that as a firm, right? And understanding where you are on that path that's already been blazed by others. You can just sort of follow the playbook, and there's lots of individuals in the industry with whom you can lean in on and learn from and collaborate with, right? And so, in this session, that the first session, there is a component of homework where we were assigning homework and having actionable items out of it that then laid the foundational elements for the second session, where we actually go through and implement a financial model for the firm. And when I say implement the financial model for your firm, it's actually a Giraffe account that has some pre-built things in there for you, so you don't have to start from zero. You're just sort of, changing some of the dials and knobs around what you experience in your own business and things. And there's additional resources available throughout that process in order to execute that. But the session 2 was much more around, like, how do I now execute what I reimagined and envisioned for the next 18, 24, 36 months for the firm? And then how do I put some numbers behind this that I can start measuring against around this with? So then there's some concrete metrics that you can rationalize. And then the last session was a pure, how do you build a successful FP&A practice? And this is where Growth Lab took the lead, because they've done this successfully. Dawn's doing it successfully. A number of other people are doing this successfully, but it's always good to hear stories from people who have done it, been there, and can, you know, answer and address questions in a meaningful way. So it's more of like a community that's a kind of echoing and amplifying what Liz and Heather are seeking to achieve or are achieving here with Appy Camp. And so we just wanted to get that outcome of walking away feeling like, all right, so I've got this tactical tool that I can, you know, understand my business and update and see how I'm doing, but I've also got this framework, an idea around how to build a successful FP&A practice in a community that can help support me in this process. And so that is the outcome that we're seeking in that process there. And you know, I'm looking forward to a second run of it. So that is the boot camp.
Okay, I heard second run of it. Do tell.
We don't have the exact dates, but we're going to be doing more of them this year. That's a goal that Evan and I stated. And Evan and I just, you know, about a month ago, we've also finished off, you know, all of our strategic planning for Giraffe. And, you know, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, but, you know, we centered on 5 initiatives for the accounting community. This is one of them, but there's a lot of cool things that are going to be coming out from Giraffe this year. And so just stay tuned.
I love that you're going to be offering another camp because, you know, Dawn is a living example who's here with us that's sharing what, you know, her experience has been going through and just understanding how to use the tool and some of the thoughts that go into it. But while at QuickBooks Connect, there were other boot camp attendees that were there, and they were sharing how much they've gotten out of boot camp.
They
You know,
did,
maybe they were
yeah.
able to participate in all of it, maybe not, but still they recognized that there was so much value in having these types of conversations with your client.
Well, yeah, I think too, Liz, is that sometimes, you know, you can get so focused on, you know, a lot of what Dawn just shared. You're so focused on supporting your business, your clients, your employees, that sometimes you just don't zoom out enough to kind of think about yourself and your own firm and where you want to take it.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
It's recentering yourself about where you want to take your firm.
It's I always, just like Mike was saying a moment ago, we've got 5 initiatives this year for the accounting channel. Some of them are, you know, taking a pause on our business and sharpening the saw a little bit, which is the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's very easy to just be overly focused and just, you kind of just lose sight of it because it just happens naturally. It's a human behavioral thing that you're just chopping trees down and you don't realize you need to stop for a moment and sharpen the saw. And, you know, sometimes vacation's needed for that. Sometimes, you know, people have different needs here. But, you know, by going through things like this, it sharpens that saw a lot, right? And then I'll flip it over. You know, I always like to talk to attorneys because they always like to flip things over and look at it from the other side. What's interesting here is
I've never heard anybody say that. Sorry. I love talking to attorneys. Okay.
I do like talking to attorneys because they flip the argument over. So the other side of this is you could very well find out, you go talk to a client and next thing you know, they've been waiting for you to have this conversation and that they need like way more than you're ready to deliver. So you have to be able to understand how to protect against that too. To Dawn's point about relationship pricing, right? So, you know, it giveth, they will taketh, right? So
So I'm going to hold y'all to this next round of boot camp because I want to be in.
Okay.
So much goodness happened in there that I know that, you know, anybody in our cohort that's here with us right now, I'd love to share out details whenever you do your next boot camp.
We would love for you to do so.
So Dawn, designated motivator.
What I love to do, man.
You know,
I
one
love it.
thing I've never been able to hear the backstory of is where did this whole idea come from?
Yeah, so you know, it'd be tough to keep it brief, but I'll try. Really, it just came from the opportunity of one of my former teammates asking me to coach college softball with her, and this was at the fall of 2018, and I said okay, and don't know what I was on, just insane, which I am, but like what a crazy idea to do volunteer coach softball. And I'm like, I'll give you a couple of days. And then when I went to the first practice, I'm like, I'll never miss it. I will never miss anything. I have to be here all the time. It like just filled my whole soul. And anyway, they called me, they gave me my bag tag and it said volunteer assistant coach. And I'm like, that makes me really mad. So I went back here to Powerful Accounting. We had arts and crafts and I took my name badge that said volunteer assistant on it. And I put 2 names on it. I had no idea really what I was even there for. Like, I'm not a technical coach of, this is how to hold the ball. Like, I know how to play the game, right? So I said, all right, well, what the heck am I going to be? Well, number 1, I'm going to be as co-head coach. That's going to be the first thing. I am not an assistant. I'm the co-head coach. And then the second thing I put on there, and I swear on my dad, I swear, I was like, what am I going to do for these kids? And I said, you're going to be the designated motivator. It just happened. This was before the season really started. And that was all I focused on with that team. And that's where the name came from. And, taking a team from 12-26 to 3rd in the country, that's the whole, the summary of the story. It wasn't me. It was about somebody who cared enough about the kids in this book. They're in this book. Cared enough about them and believed in them, genuinely believed in them, not blowing smoke. Literally, I know you can hit the ball. I know you can make this happen. I know you can do whatever coach is asking you to do. I already know that. And when someone hears that from someone else, they start to believe in themselves. They just start to believe. And that's where the designated motivator came from, was that experience that I'm still enjoying today. I can't wait. We got our first meeting in 2 weeks or next week. Might be next week, I think. And I can't wait. I'm like, I come into those meetings, I come in on fire. It's almost like they're bowling balls, and I just come in there and I plow them all over and I get them fired up and we're ready for the season. And that's what I want to do for the tax people. I just did a talk last Friday to the Maryland Society of Tax and Accounting Professionals through Zoom for an hour and a half. I was on fire to get them pumped and ready and to think about tax season a little different. Doesn't matter what services you provide, whether you're in the relationship pricing, tax prep, bookkeeping, client accounting services, advisory, blah, all that stuff. You can do things different this season than you've ever done them before. And that doesn't mean you're going to implement all brand new technology, or I'm going to fire all my clients and get brand new ones, or get rid of all my employees and start over. That's not what I mean. It's about the way you approach it and your mindset of, okay, I'm going to document the stuff that's really difficult, the things that are driving me crazy, whatever that may be. And we're going to document. And then guess what we're going to do? The same thing we do when we go to conferences nowadays. We take notes and then we do something with them. We learn at the conference, then we do. We don't learn and go, wee, that was fun. Just like tax season. Oh, this was terrible. Why was it terrible? Change it. It doesn't have to be terrible. No reason it should be terrible. And so that's where I'm at, Liz. And I am fired up.
I'm glad that you are, and I'm glad that you're sharing your resources with our viewers. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over here, because this is where you can get the book. Is this where people can go and get their book?
Yeah, so they can go to dawnbrolin.com. You can get a digital version. If you want the hard copy, you got to go on Amazon.
I did. And I want you to autograph it at some point.
That makes me feel really weird, but okay.
Yeah, no, you're my friend. I want to have Dawn's signature in my book.
You're so cute. Yeah, no, so I put my price list up there. I put the stuff Mike and I put together, which is also on my Powerful Accounting website, but I have the Word document up there for free resources. Look at all the services we're saying we're going to do for the different levels that we're at. We probably should have charged double what we're charging, but we're satisfied. We're not trying to be greedy people, but all of that stuff's up there because I want to help people. Disengagement letters I've thrown up there, different things. You can either text it if you want to get it on your phone, or if you go online. If you have issues, I always tell people, don't talk to me, talk to Charlotte. Charlotte at designatedmotivator.com. That's her email address. I just hired her as director of operations to wrangle the cats that I create. I got tails flying all over the place. We're losing tails and dead bodies behind me every day. But I want to give back. I want people to be able to do something different with their firm this year. And really, at the end of the day, for me, the tools that I use within my business, which are in the book, all the different, the apps that I use to run my firm. What I love about it is, I always think about Giraffe a little bit as a set it and forget it. Giraffe is working with the data that it's getting on a regular basis. I don't have to update it. It's doing that for me. And the clients can still look at their dashboard without me being there, but then I can teach them about it. So I don't have to be hands-on all the time. Maybe it takes the first couple months of sitting with a client and going through the dashboard and going through the reports and helping them understand what they mean when they see things that change. But I'm literally helping them become more proactive. You know what I mean? Be more proactive to say, listen, you guys can actually pay attention to this stuff. You don't need me all the time. I'm here for you. But I think a lot of times we'd implement, historically, I'll just tell you, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, I would have said, here we go, here's your app, another great tool, here's a dashboard, bye. That's not doing it. We got to have the conversations. And so I can
Yeah.
talk about this.
Priorities. Yeah.
I'm gonna launch our poll.
Putting the
Oh, there we
action
go.
in place.
Only question.
Yeah, nice, Heather. Thank you.
Welcome.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and share that we have our next webinar that's going to be on February 21st. And it's going to be with Carbon. So Ian will be joining us. We love Ian. I can't wait to find out more about this topic. So the
I
title
love
is
Ian.
You
Ian-
Love Me, Decisions. Like what? I don't even know what that's going to include.
So fun fact, Mike and me went to the same high school. I was a little
Oh.
bit before him.
Oh,
Ian's
wow.
wife went to the same high school too.
Did you guys
Wow.
date her? That's the question. Did you either of you date his wife?
If
We
I
can't
did, I
say.
don't remember.
That's the stuff I
I'm going
want.
to call it no.
I'm gonna go with a no. I'm gonna go with a strong no on this one. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Fun facts though. Fun facts for the day.
That is fun. That is fun
That's a
stuff.
small little world.
You never know. You never know.
You don't.
Awesome.
And one thing I just appreciated about Ian, especially at Appy Camp, I think you guys probably noticed this, but he's an awesome mentor to so many people, and
He
was
is.
taking constant laps around the whole campus with different people throughout the
Yep.
entire 3 days, and I think he ended up talking to close to 15 people, doing probably 100 laps around the whole facility. So I think a lot of people got a ton of value out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's awesome.
He is very awesome. He's a great guy.
He's definitely a mentor of mine. He's the guy that I call when I'm like, I don't know what to do. Help. That's Ian for me. So I adore him. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, everybody. So if you didn't vote and you still want to, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do so. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you.
Well, this has been a fun episode. I really
Yeah.
like being able to hang out with my friends and
Yes.
hear what everybody's doing, what's the success that's happening. And Don, you just got it going on right now. You're talking about setting fires. You're lighting it up.
You
I'm
really
telling you
are.
what.
You really are.
I am not only physically light up all the time, but I'll tell you what I do. I have a flamethrower and I light up everything. I throw everything out and it all goes in the fire pit. And I'm on fire constantly. But I care so much. I genuinely care
And it
about my
shows.
colleagues.
100%.
This industry has been amazing to me. So I've got to give as much back as I possibly can.
Well, and you sharing your insights, like what's working for you, sharing what's going on and how you're getting there. Everybody's got their own different journey. Somebody else may be doing something different in their firm, but the thing that you keep on sharing with our community over and over again is this core idea of happiness. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with what you're
You're
doing?
authentic.
Mhm.
Mhm. And you're not afraid to call attention to whenever we're in pain.
Right.
And I appreciate that.
100%.
Yeah.
So
That's
Liz,
what life's about.
Yeah.
can I share our exciting news of what happened today? Am I allowed, or do I have to keep it a secret?
What happened today?
Well, I'm not going to give it out. Like, I'm not going to give the details of it, but we found our, we found our venue.
We did.
Oh.
We did.
I'll be calling you as soon as we hang up.
Yeah. And Dawn, you're gonna love it.
You're going to love it.
Mike, Evan, we want you there at camp
Of course.
again.
Of course.
We
Of course
want you
we're gonna
there,
be there.
and you're gonna love our location.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome.
I look
have
forward to hearing more.
I have no doubt about it. So it's
Fantastic.
gonna be
Yeah,
a tough
we-
one to
we-
follow, but I'm sure it's gonna be epic.
Oh, it's going to be epic. And it's funny because we saw the picture of it today and both of us were just like, don't even show us anything. And we did, we went through all of it, but we were like, yeah, it's perfect.
We're visiting very soon, so can't
Yes.
wait.
Well, it was great to see everybody. I've got
Yes.
to but looking forward to further interactions, and thanks everybody who joined.
Yeah, have
Thank
a
you,
great year,
everybody.
everyone.